Yes,
I didn't
Brandon
agree
in
to
charge.
that.
Well, first off, huge thanks to the DPAA, Barry, Noah, Ajay. You guys do an incredible job of bringing this industry together in so many great ways. And I think there was a comment last night that I liked, and it was a quote that Barry said at a dinner we were at. And I don't want to misquote it, but it was from an executive, I think from Procter & Gamble, and the focus was about do good and do growth. And I'll add a couple of things to that and why we're here today. And those things are, let's make it fun in the process. And in addition to that, let's really try and work together to share the success. I think, the goal that we're really all trying to work towards is a very simple one. And when we look at, the out-of-home portion of media spend in Canada, and we want to move that as quickly as we can and celebrate the success in the process of moving from 4% to 10%. I know that's what we're very much focused on. And I think it's an intricate and very involved process because there's a lot of things that when you look at strategy, you want to start doing and equally important, stop doing. We need to promote the benefits of out-of-home. We need to start embracing where we can play a bigger role in terms of automation, I would say, also the direct sale, what we're doing to bring down costs in 3D and AI and things like that. And then, also weaving in programmatic. And I think the thread that brings everything together in that we're here to talk about today, and I'm going to make some introductions in a second, is really about engagement. Where we can start telling that story, where we can start achieving it more. What are the elements that's providing increase? I love that case study, and that is one thing that I really believe in that has definitely moved our business at Rogers is proof of performance. And that's something that when we talk about doing things together is driving things further by way of more measurement out there. Proof of performance, efficacy. How did we move the needle? Can we demonstrate how out-of-home moves the needle within the context of other platforms? Isolate it, demonstrate what did out-of-home do? And I think there was another comment that Brittany made about out-of-home not being involved to the extent that she would like it to be. And that was interesting, and I look at that as, we have to be better when we look at the omni-channel and not adding on out-of-home. We need to contextually bring it into the opportunity so that the marketer looks at it and says, that's great. I understand how you're executing the TV idea. I understand how you're executing on radio and digital. But now we bring out-of-home in a much more cohesive manner. I think we're going to see huge success. And as a team and a group and an industry, we'll celebrate those wins together, share the success, and on measurement, share what we're doing so that other people can get involved. And it probably brings costs down collectively as well. And definitely, I know I am so proud to be sitting here today with a very esteemed group of professionals, and I'll start. So I think everyone's name on the board, or was it before? I'll introduce everybody. So Sarah Kim, SVP of Partnerships at Talon. Thank you for being here. And I have to the left of Sarah, we have Nicolette Leonardis, who everybody knows. And geez, if we had Dan and Nicolette in that, like Dan's shirt and Nicolette's, amazing. But speaking of shirts, president of Ungli Technologies, Amrit Sagu, join us today, just off a plane from China, I believe.
Yeah, on the opposite time zone right now in my mind, but I'm hanging on.
So we'll kick things off, and I think the most important thing is for everyone here, when we look at our respective businesses and our role in out-of-home, how do you define engagement in the context of your business, and why is it important? And I will start with Sarah.
Great, thank you. And thanks for having me. Thanks to the DPAA for hosting us today. So engagement is incredibly important in out-of-home. It's important to every member of our team, and it's the key ingredient on every single plan, but what exactly is engagement? And Webster's Dictionary defines engagement as, I'm just kidding. No, but seriously, engagement is any time that a human interacts with the advertisement itself or acknowledges the advertisement. So we know that in Canada, from a Comb Insight survey, that 78% of Canadians admit to acknowledging or noticing out of home. So that's a pretty good engagement score. But engagement needs to go much further than that. It needs to create impact. So it can take many engagements with an ad or a brand before a purchase is made or the tables have turned and we start to consider the product or service offered. So when it comes to engagement, what we're really thinking about at Talon is the impact that can have. So one of the most exciting things about our transition from Novus to Talon is access to Grand Visual. And we actually saw Dan Dawson on the Creative Council for DPAA. We saw his big picture up there today. So Grand Visual is an out-of-home specific creative agency that is bringing 3D, AR, and all kinds of other digital-first opportunities to the markets that they work with at scale. And so that's really important for us in Canada because often we have a great idea to do something for clients, but we just don't have the budget to be able to scale it across all of the different markets, all of the different formats, and all of the different vendors. So with that in mind, Grand Visual is going to come into the marketplace and really help us to drive engagement and impact with our clients.
Love it.
That's awesome. So for vertical, engagement is all about attention. Did the audience actually stare at your ad? How did your primary demo resonate versus your secondary target demo? Did Quebec respond differently from Alberta? Was it the blue message that garnered more attention or the yellow one? And so these are the insights that we give our clients for data-driven media planning and buying. And we have a setup out in the foyer during the breaks for you to all try our tech. We are, opening the kimono, I think Barry said that, to see the workings of our tech behind the scenes. And we're testing new advancements. So it's not exactly what we have in the elevator. You'll see some sentiment analysis and some other things there. But we really want your feedback on our customizable tech stack. We think this room is, the future of out-of-home growth. And we can transform the metrics and the measurement that we have and we can provide so that we can all grow out of home together. And so we're really excited about that. So I encourage everyone to check that out. And we're looking forward to growth in this space and continuing, like what you said. It's great that finally we are in this attention economy and we can stand out by showing that there are metrics and measurements for out of home that can drive all parts of the funnel.
Emrit.
Yeah, at Ungly, engagements are center point. From the whole process of someone coming into a Boston Pizza, looking at the menu, from calling the server for paying the bill, it's a guaranteed engagement. It's a guaranteed touch point. Combine that with at least an hour dwell time. It gives an opportunity for brands to actually engage and actually measure that engagement via a QR code or whatever it is, however the brand wants that the storyline to go. Imagine that now across 20,000 tables across Boston Pizza, giving you all type of Canadians, from old, young, brown, black, white, everything. So, engagement is definitely something that we built our whole platform around.
In dwell time being a really big part of that, I'm sure, right?
Correct.
Thanks, Emrit. So, maybe I'll start, Nikki, with you. And the next question is, how do we tell this story more frequently, better? What megaphone should we use? What should we focus on to really start promoting that story? Because I think we have to look at the constituent groups of our valued ad agencies and partners and clients too, like getting the message across to everyone. And what can we do as an industry to better tell that story? What do you think?
Well, I think the DPAA is a great start. And really, blurring the lines between what is digital out of home, what is video, what is connected TV. We can't all pretend that we're connected TV networks, that's for sure. But I think the more we look at out of home as a part of this ecosystem that's not an add-on, it has valuable metrics. But I think Ben left, but there he is. I was talking to Ben yesterday, and he said we have to be careful about what metrics we do put out there, because we don't want to put ourselves into a box and then totally become a performance medium, because there is such tradition and history of out of home being brand awareness And how do you measure that impact? It's so hard. There's so many parts of the funnel. But that part is very important and very hard to measure. It's very subjective. And so I think we want to continue to blur the lines and push forward, but we have to be careful, to Ben's point, about being cautious about not putting ourselves into a corner.
Sarah?
So it's hard to follow after Brittany, an actual agency client, gave us all a lecture about how important it is to acknowledge out-of-home at the beginning of the planning stages and to start thinking about your out-of-home strategy not as an afterthought or just a small piece of the budget, but looking for the full opportunity to what we can offer in this space. So I think measurement is also a great place to look. Understanding cross-the-board measurement when we're looking at static, when we're looking at digital, direct, and programmatic, and how we can bring all three of those together to give clients results on the full value of their campaign and market and their full brand metrics. I think that's really going to help make a difference in terms of ensuring that we're capturing more of the pie.
Amrit, when you think about telling a story about your new technology you're offering, and where does attribution play a role for you? Because you can actually tell that story. When you've got somebody there for an hour plus, you can look at sequential messaging. You can build a story for an audience. How do you tell that story in the market?
I mean, it is a one-to-one impression. Since we are mandated in the operations, it does give a lot of opportunity for brands, and you can use correlation to even measure results. For example, we're seeing an 8 to 13% increase on average bill spend on every table we put our units on. Beyond that, at Boston Pizza, we see a 6-to-1 increase on dessert sales. So when brands look at our platform, it's as a correlation to the sales at the restaurant, they can actually use that to say, hey, this is working. So telling the story is very important, because for an hour, if you have an hour for the customer, on game days, that's 3 hours plus. Let's say you're someone from Bud Light, now you can show your whole portfolio of different products, not just that one key creative, because you have that story. So gamifying is a huge thing, and it's just bringing it all together and then utilizing that time.
I was looking at the reel that was playing before we all came in, and it said something really interesting. I don't know if it was at the end, but it said, from the height of engagement to the end of the consumer journey. I thought that was interesting, because that's kind of what we're talking about today. One other question, because I know we're running short on time, but where does content play a role in this journey of driving engagement for everybody here? Because I think it may be different for everyone. It may be different for Sarah in terms of how she's assessing something. It might be different for Amrit, knowing if it's a game night, and then obviously Nicolette when it's in the elevator. What is that piece of added value that's driving things for you, I guess, from a content standpoint?
Well, we can measure it, and we know that when we have branded content campaigns, whether it's with Sportsnet or Breakfast Television, we just get increased engagement. We don't have a proper data point yet, because we're still rolling these things out, but we can see lift. And I think that it's important that your ads are contextually relevant. So I'm glad to hear that there's a creative service agency focused on out-of-home, because we can't just put the same ad in all these different placements and think that it's going to have the same results. So contextually relevant content adjacency is just increasing engagement across the board.
I mean, for us, we have a responsibility to the audience. It's a privilege for us to be on the dining table. We're in front of your eyes when people are eating their meals, having their beer. So that's something our team focuses on, is the content that we're displaying from game days, showing reels, showing replays, to live stream, which we have developed and coming forward. So that the fact that we're in front of that audience for at least an hour, we have to be responsible to that audience, and that's where our central point is, and then we build around that.
Take it away.
So what I like about working with these two particular individuals the most is that the value exchange to the advertiser from the brand is very clear. In both of these cases, they're providing content that services a point other than just to talk to you. It can be pretty difficult with 7 words or less to create, content in the traditional sense of roadside billboards. But it's important for audiences to understand why the brand is there and what the purpose of that is. So I agree so much with the contextual placement out of home. Our context is the location. So we just stay focused on that and we'll never lead our brands astray.
Love that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is that good or what,
Very
Barry?
timely.
This guy's a hand.
Keep it moving.